Hello, mic test. Fredo, mic test. Hello, mic. Check mo. Hello, mic and test. Wala pa sila eh. Mother, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay.
Parang kulang ako ng lighting. Ayusin ko yung lighting ko. Wait
Oh,
lang.
ma'am, in front of you.
Yeah. Meron ako.
Better, ma'am.
O, di ba? Teka, magpapabango pa ako. Sandali.
Nag-even up yung colors mo.
Magpapabango pa ako. Pwede ba yun? O, hindi na.
Sige ma'am, para mabango ang forum.
Para maamoy mo ako, di ba?
Oo.
Eh, ganun. Uy, kailan ba tayo magkakaroon ng mga face-to-face?
Ma'am, probably July. Hi, Miss Sol. Good afternoon.
Afternoon po.
Miss Ave, this is Sol from Pag-ibig.
Hi!
Good afternoon po.
Ang speaker natin si Mr. Benjamin, no? Loans.
Yes po, si Sir Benji po.
Si Sir Benji. Okay. Si attorney Charmaine Kabiling, wala pa sa aking resume.
Sige ma'am, pasend ko sa'yo sa Viber.
Oh, sige.
Miss Sol, bali po, you will be displaying the presentation na po, no?
Nag-accept ka na ba?
Not yet, ma'am.
Kalabaw, nasa na yun?
Miss Sol, you'll be the one po to display the presentation?
Opo, yes.
Okay. Sure, ma'am.
Pwede
Sure.
pong i-test natin ngayon.
Sure, ma'am. Go
Tingnan ko
ahead,
lang.
please.
Test. Testing. Patay muna ako ng ilaw.
Nakikita niyo po?
Yes.
Yes.
Ano ko lang, slideshow ko lang.
Si Miss Mayen, ano na nangyari? Busy?
516. Si Ma'am Malen po kasi ay naka-isolate.
Nasaan?
Was asked po to quarantine kasi yung anak niya is COVID positive. So, pinagre-rest din po siya.
Uy, marami ngayong ganyan. Bakit kaya dumadami na naman?
Opo. Yan. Ano ko lang po, pindot-pindutin ko lang. Nagde-delay po ba sa inyo? Hindi naman.
Ayos lang.
Okay po. So I think this is good na.
Teka, ipapaprint ko muna tong ang liliit ng sulat. Sige.
Tapos si Sir Benji po is joining na rin in a few minutes po.
Sige. Okay.
Charmaine? Ma'am?
Yes, Miss
Ma'am
Sol.
Charmaine? Yeah, sorry. Nakita ko lang yung name ni
Oo
Sir
nga.
Benji dun sa...
Oo. Papalitan namin yung nakapost. Yun
Apa,
yung,
yan.
yung may
Thank you
error.
po.
Thank you, Miss Sol. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you need to try the screen, just go ahead po before we start. Thank you. Our host for today will be Miss Ave Acuña.
You, Charmaine, can you please resend again the profile of Mr. Kabling?
Sure, ma'am, sure.
Hindi ko ma-open. Thank you.
broke. The Chamber of Real Estate and Builders Associations Incorporated, or CREBA, is the single biggest Philippine organization of professionals and agrupations comprising the widest cross-section of the housing and real estate industry. These are developers, brokers, appraisers, contractors, manufacturers, suppliers, engineers, architects, and others engaged in the shelter and real estate business. As early as 1960s, to unite the different disciplines involved in the industry, the idea of an umbrella organization was conceived. During that time, private subdivisions were mushrooming in the peripheries of Metro Manila. Due to fast pace of development, the developers and buyers were confronted with different obstacles and problems. In October 1973, Attorney Manuel M. Serrano, joined by the leaders of the industry, formally founded CREBA. The chamber is registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission as The Chamber of Real Estate and Builders Associations Incorporated, or CREBA, is the single biggest Philippine organization of professionals and agrupations comprising the widest cross-section of the housing and real estate industry. These are developers, brokers, appraisers, contractors, manufacturers, suppliers, engineers, architects, and others engaged in the shelter and real estate business. As early as 1960s, to unite the different disciplines involved in the industry, the idea of an umbrella organization was conceived. During that time, private subdivisions were mushrooming in the peripheries of Metro Manila. Due to fast pace of development, the developers and buyers were confronted with different obstacles and problems. In October 1973, Attorney Manuel M. Serrano, joined by the leaders of the industry, formally founded CREBA. The chamber is registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission as a non-stock, non-profit, non-government organization. To protect and promote the interest of the members, CREBA seeks to harmonize the conflicting forces of business, government, and the homeless society. CREBA has committed to be an effective and dynamic partner for national development, as the real estate industry being a major pump primer of the economy, and the government recognizes this role. The chamber sits in legislative hearings in both houses of Congress on bills that bear impact on the industry to ensure that the interest of the members and the welfare of the public in general is enhanced. For over 40 years, the chamber can take pride on what it has done, pushing for reforms, drawing up significant proposals, and mustering the strength to push its plans forward into real action. Today, CREBA is at crossroads of facing the challenges of the past and the present. Its initiatives and advocacies have been consistently focused not just on the interests of its members, but also enabling the millions of homeless families to acquire decent, affordable homes, vigilant in its dream to see a home for every Filipino. CREBA's aspirations for the housing sector is embodied in its 5-point agenda for housing. It's a package of interrelated policy and legislative reform proposals, ensuring that every Filipino is able to live a full and happy life in a home he can call his own. 3 major issues that need to be effectively and cohesively addressed in order to curb the country's at least 5.5 million housing backlog are finance, land, and governance. The 5-point agenda aims to provide long-term and affordable funds for socialized and economic housing, affordable homes in urban areas nationwide, equitable allocation of lands for human settlements, agriculture, and the environment, efficient housing regulations, and the creation of a Housing and Urban Development Department that will address housing concerns. The 5-point agenda pursues CREBA's long-term avowed mission of making homes more affordable for the majority of Filipinos, a home where his family can live, work, play, and grow. CREBA leaves no stones unturned in its relentless vision towards a home for every Filipino, transforming the environment of social and economic development, leading to the intensified production of 500,000 housing units every year to build 10 million homes in a span of 2 decades.
That R stands for realtor.
Hello? Good afternoon, Shermin.
Hi.
Shall we start?
Hi, Abe. Hello.
Hi, Mr. President. We will start already. I know you're so busy. May I ask your permission to start already?
Yes, it's 2 o'clock. It's okay. We
Okay,
can start.
so all right. So a pleasant afternoon to each and everyone. We will start our program in 5 minutes. Say 1 minute. Okay na, Charmaine? Pati audio. I think we already have about 97 participants here and still waiting for the others. So let's give them 1 minute so they can start with us. Okay, we can start. Again, good afternoon to each and everyone who's logged in here in our CREBA Shelter Finance Forum with Pag-ibig Fund and SHFC as our speakers for today. So before we start, let us start with doxology, followed by the CREBA hymn.
Bawat sandali sa araw at gabi, maging tanglaw namin itong aming dasal. Kapag naliligaw, habang nasa mundo Sa dilim na may makita liwanag ng pag-ibig mo, dakila at di mawawalay sa iyong gabay. Ang Diyos aking
Naway ng lahat
kaya pandaigdig
at laging bantayan
buhay na lahat.
sa'yo umaasa.
Puspos ng iyong pag-ibig,
Ikaw ay manahan,
aming panalangin.
aming panalangin.
Tulad ng isang pasling,
Tulad ng isang paslit,
kami akayin mo sa landas na wasto, kung saan patungo sa iyo. Kami akayin mo sa landas na wasto, kung saan patungo sa
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiin. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw, may dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Across the vastness of our native land looms a challenge we must face. How to build and shape a nation and provide each man with a dwelling place. It's a lifelong dream of every man to lay down his roots one day. Thus we strive to keep this vision. 'Tis the role we have to play. With the government to work with hand in hand, building and restoring hope throughout the land. Sheltering the future from the storm, we shall offer all our skills with open hand. All together with a vigor to pursue, and the expertise in making dreams come true. Where the welfare of the people has our paramount concern, we shall show them we are builders through
All right. Thank you so much. Once again, welcome to our CREBA Shelter Finance Forum with Pag-ibig and the Social Housing Finance Corps. Before we go any further, let me introduce to you our CREBA National President, who's going to call this meeting to order and to do the welcome remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Noel Toti Carino.
Good afternoon, everybody. In behalf of our national chairman and our national board of directors, it is indeed my pleasure to welcome everyone, our guests, our members, and everyone who is in this forum to attend what I would say is a very timely forum on shelter finance coming from SHFC and Pag-ibig. We have two distinguished gentlemen and of course the deputy for Pag-ibig, a distinguished lady who will give us insights on how best we could contribute in the shelter program, especially now that there is a new administration that would augur and introduce probably new schemes and new initiatives on how best we can become more relevant to the housing needs of the country. So again, it is with great pleasure and with a great expectation that we will have a very interesting forum today where we can ask questions and we can probably throw in some of our ideas and ask the speakers to take a look and comment on these things so we could really come up with some innovative and new ideas. Thank you very much and a pleasant good afternoon to everybody. We hope to see an active and invigorating forum for today. Thank you very much, Abe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we go to our guests of honor and speakers, let me recognize some personalities here. Let me call on past President and incumbent Director Jerry Navarrete. Welcome to this forum. Our Treasurer, Connie Beltran, National Treasurer, that is. Then we have Rebac National Officer Vivian Castro. We also have from Pangasinan, CREBA Pangasinan, Felipe Daroya. And as far as CREBA SOC Sergeant, Sid Protasio. We will be recognizing the others as we continue this program. So let me introduce, without further ado, our first speaker. Our first speaker is known to everyone as Benji, no? To his colleagues. Benji is a very famous name, no? So he is a product of the University of the Philippines and currently the Senior Vice President for Loans Operations Sector of Pag-ibig Fund. Prior to joining Pag-ibig, SVP Felix was the Sales and Business Control Head of Citibank Savings Incorporated. He possesses vast experiences in collections and has a notable list of achievements during his tenure in Citibank Global Consumer Banking, Equitable Card Network, and Citibank Savings. In 2002, we received the Citigroup Service Excellence Award for the Geo-Expansion Project of Citibank card sales. He was also a major contributor in increasing Equitable Card's gross unit recoveries to 280% in 2003. And during his first 9 months of duty as Equitable Card Network Collections Manager, in 2007, he was awarded as Citibank Savings Sales Channel Manager of the Year. So ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome the Senior Vice President, Loans Operations Sector of Pag-ibig Fund, Mr. Benjamin R. Felix Jr.
Good afternoon. Maraming salamat po, Miss Ave. No?
Welcome.
Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Napakahaba po ng introduction. No? As can see, galing po tayo sa bangko, and my experience sa bangko is more on credit cards and personal loans. Pero when we were invited to join public service, no, hindi po tayo nagdalawang isip, and then we joined Pag-ibig Fund and brought whatever we have learned and practiced sa bangko sa Pag-ibig Fund. So before anything else, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat, sa lahat po ng mga narito. On behalf of our Deputy CEO, si Ms. Marilyn C. Acosta, na hindi po makaka-join ngayon due to some conflict po. I am representing her and the fund in this shelter finance being conducted by CREBA. Magandang hapon po to the mga matagal ng kaibigan ng Pondo. May I at least send my greetings to the chairman. Wala pa yata dito si Mr. Charlie Gurayev, no? And to the current director po and Vice Chairman Mr. Jerry Bautista. Magandang hapon po, sir. And the President of CREBA, Mr. Toti Carino, sir. Good afternoon. And si Miss the Vice President for International Affairs, I can see here si Miss Evangelina and the Treasurer Miss Connie Beltran. Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. No? So on behalf of our President CEO Akamadi Saldi Pimote and my manang malin, my boss, Deputy Chief Executive Officer Marilyn C. Acosta, it is my honor and pleasure to be here with you today to represent Pag-ibig Fund in this virtual CREBA Shelter Finance Forum. So for more than 3 decades, CREBA had been a true catalyst of home ownership and partner of the fund, bringing with them years of experience in advancing initiatives towards improving the lives of Filipinos by helping them acquire decent and affordable homes. No? Truly, the efforts of CREBA had been instrumental for the Philippine housing industry, no? To initiate policies and policy reforms and development towards housing. As we continuously continue our mandate in Pag-ibig Fund of affordable shelter financing, we stand firm in our role of empowering our 14 million members towards achieving a home of their own and a secure financial future by providing better access to housing opportunities, especially our members who are in the unserved and underserved sectors. And with that being said, please allow me to share with you the latest on Pag-ibig Fund's programs and active services. As of December 2021, ito po ang snapshot ng Pag-ibig Fund. No? So we have 13.69 active members. We have released 44.3 billion in terms of short-term loans, 97.2 billion, 97.28 billion in housing loan releases. We were able to serve more than 2.09 million members who availed of our short-term loans and 94,500 housing loan borrowers. In terms of membership savings, for December 2021, we were able to collect 63.67 billion. Our total assets year-end 2021 stands at 740.53 billion. No? So that's 3/4 of a trillion. No? Ina po yung ang pondo. Ito na po ang laki ng pondo natin ng manggagawang Pilipino. 740.5 billion. Last year, we declared a net income of 37.73 billion. Next slide, please. The 13.69 million members is as of December is if we compare it to our 2020 membership level of 12.77 million, it's 7.2% higher than the previous year. So as of May, tumasok po yan. Ngayon po ay nasa 14.21 million active membership level na po ang Pag-ibig Fund. Next slide, please. In terms of membership savings, the 63.67 billion that we collected was the highest amount collected membership savings that was collected by Pag-ibig Fund. As of May, This is now 37, ang year-to-date collection po natin, 31.78 billion. No? So for the first 5 months, we were able to collect almost 32 billion, or more than double already of our previous year's collection. So we estimate, we compute, we expect that the 63.67 billion that we collected of the membership savings will be even higher for the year 2022, especially now that the economy is opening up and more of our members are balik trabaho na, nagkakatrabaho na po uli, ano. So our year-end na 63.67 billion membership collection is even higher than our previous pre-pandemic, kasi nung nagka-pandemic po ay maraming nawalan ng trabaho, na bumaba po ang collection ng Pag-ibig Fund. Pero right now, since we only collect to our active members, yung po may mga trabaho lang, ngayon po makita po natin that the economy is now opening up and naging mas masigla na po ulit ang economy natin, mga miyembro natin may trabaho na, and their contributions are now coming in. No? So, and we expect the economy to grow, to open up more this year, and as proven by our collection of 31.78 million as of May. Next slide, please. In terms of short-term loans, in 2021, we were able to release 44.3 billion in short-term loans, helping more than 2.09 members. So for their immediate financial needs, ito yung mga salary loans, yung multi-purpose loan that we released to our members. The amount of short-term loans approved in 2021 is 24% higher than our 2023 approval of 35.64 billion. No? So the number of borrowers we added to this program also increased by 20%. So mas marami po ang nakapag-avail ng ating short-term loans or the multi-purpose loan. Many of our borrowers now turn to the Pag-ibig Fund for their immediate financial needs. Pagka meron silang mga loans na meron silang financial need, hindi na dati sa SSS or sa GSIS. So ngayon po ang meron na silang malaking third option, the Pag-ibig Fund, short-term loan. Next slide, please. So ito naman po, in terms of housing loan takeout, 97.3 billion po ang na-takeout po natin in 2021. Servicing more than 94,500 housing loan borrowers. No? So this is again, our record, no? 97.3 billion, the highest ever in terms of increase versus the previous year, 2020. This is higher by 12%. Or 10.6 billion. In 2020 po, we took out 86.7 billion. 86.7 billion in 2019. No? So it's even higher than our pre-pandemic level, when the 2021 takeout natin. So we can say that we are already back. Again, taking consideration of our as of May, that we already have 40.41 billion takeout. Again, we are expected to top ito pong 97.3 billion. Pero, next slide please. If we will consider yung 3.5 billion interim release that was done by Pag-ibig Fund, next slide. In terms of total housing loan releases, Pag-ibig Fund surpassed the 100 billion level in 2021. This is the first time that the glass ceiling of 100 billion was broken by Pag-ibig Fund. So it was really a remarkable achievement for Pag-ibig Fund, considering the challenges posed by the pandemic. Kasi even in 2021, we were still going in and out of our different quarantine levels. No? So patuloy po na nakakapagserbisyo ang Pag-ibig Fund sa ating mga miyembro, sa ating mga partner developers, sa mga lahat ng stakeholders natin. And we were able to surpass the 100 billion level mark. Next slide, please. Pero yung sa hindi po nakakalimutan ng Pag-ibig Fund, our mandate to our socialized housing loan borrowers. No? So in terms of housing loan releases sa socialized housing loans, for this year, ang takeout po natin ay nasa 2.93 billion. Last year po, that's almost 30% of our total number. In 2021, ang share ng socialized housing loan nasa 30% po of the more than 90,000 members that we serve. So hindi po nakakalimutan ng Pag-ibig Fund yung ating mandate portfolio, ating mga kababayan sa laylayan who look to Pag-ibig Fund to finance yung kanilang mga affordable housing needs. Next slide, please. So how are we able to do this? Siguro po marami sa ating mga miyembro ay have already heard this so many times from Pag-ibig Fund. Best ever, record-breaking year. So we introduced several programs over recently, last 2 years, last year, during the pandemic, even prior to the pandemic. So we introduced new and improved programs, starting with our cash loans. So we made it more affordable. No, Pag-ibig Fund for the longest time since 1982, since inception, the Pag-ibig multi-purpose loan or short-term loan, ang tenor lang niya or the number of months that pwede mo siyang bayaran kung maglo-loan ka 24 months. No. So you make a loan and you are given 24 months, pwede siyang bayaran 24 monthly installments. While it is affordable for most of, it's really affordable, no, for everyone. We even made it more affordable by extending the term to 3 years. No, so we were dati kung mag-loan ka 2 years lang, ngayon 3 years pwede mo siyang bayaran, which made monthly payments even more affordable sa mga kababayan po natin, no, by almost 28%. It's yung monthly amortization. So they have more available funds for their other housing needs, no? For whatever needs they have, so basic needs, electricity, sa pang-grocery, pamamalengke. So we are kumbaga responsive to the needs of our members. Next slide, please. We also introduced the HEAL, the Home Equity Appreciation Loan. Ano ba tong HEAL? So the HEAL is an equity loan. Kunyari po, you have a loan with us that has been already more than 5 years. Syempre may napi-free up kang and you are able to maintain na updated yung loan mo for the last 5 years. May equity kang napi-free up, and that freed up equity, you can use it to make another loan with Pag-ibig Fund using the same collateral, your housing loan, your existing housing loan with us. So hindi mo na kailangan pang maghanap ng iba pang collateral. And hindi naman yung loan proceeds for that additional loan, you can use for anything. Meron dyan, nag-gumamit for home improvement, may bumili ng kotse, may gumamit ng or nag-start ng bagong business. So it is an incentive program that we offer to our good paying housing loan borrowers and installment buyers to fund whatever need na kailangan nila and finance their other life goals. Next slide, please. Dahil nga po sa pandemic, maraming mga kababayan natin na nahirapan. So marami po ang naging delinquente or naging past due sa kanilang mga pagbabayad sa kanilang housing loan. So Pag-ibig Fund instituted the Home Saver programs, no? So we enhanced our different remediation programs to cater to the needs of our borrowers that were greatly affected by the pandemic. Starting with the plan of payment, ano ba tong the plan of payment? May 4 na component yung ating Home Saver programs. First is the plan of payment, next the penalty condonation, the housing loan restructuring, and last is the housing loan revaluation. Unang-una, ano ba yung plan of payment? So it was we gave it to all our housing loan borrowers that were at least 3 months in arrears, and we designed a payment structuring plan for them so that pwede niyang bayaran yung kanyang past due at the same time yung kanyang current amortization, no, na para mahabol niya yung kanyang past due. Penalty condonation, kung babayaran mo ng buo ang iyong total arrearages, we will give you penalty condonation as long as hindi pa siya foreclose or cancel yung contract to sell. Housing loan revaluation, boss, hindi ko na po kayang bayaran yung malaking monthly amortization ko. Ipahabain po natin ang term ng inyong loan. Dati po kasi hindi mo min-maximize, 20 years lang ang inabil mo. Let's make your payment term to extend it to 25 years so that maging mas maliit ang monthly amortization mo and make it more affordable for you, no? Kasi nga nahihirapan ka ngayon, naapekto ang iyong income capacity. In case naman mag-improve na uli yan after the pandemic, we can do another housing loan restructuring, no? For or housing loan evaluation. Ganun din po yung housing loan restructuring, no? So it's a valuation of the housing loan evaluation. Kasi sa loan restructuring yung mga nagpapahaba, meron din naman po nagpapa-revalue, minsan gusto mas maikli na lang yung payment nila. So we offered all of these programs to cater to the needs of our borrowers who were again affected by the Pag-ibig Fund. Next slide, please. We also continue to push for our Pag-ibig Loyalty Card Plus. This is a reward card that we give out to our members. It provides, next slide, it provides discounts and privileges more than 360 partner merchants, no? So hindi lang mga restaurants, schools, drugstores, even groceries. Our members who get this the Pag-ibig Loyalty Card Plus can avail of this discount from these 360 partner merchants, and it continues to grow, no? Patuloy po tayo nag-accredit, and even kahit dati kami naghahanap ng mga partner merchants, pero ngayon po sila po yung lumalapit sa atin because of the large membership of Pag-ibig Fund. As of May 2016, we have issued more than 9.19 million cards, no? Ito rin pong itong Loyalty Card Plus is through partnership with three universal banks, include the Asia United Bank, ano pa ba iba? Asia United Bank, Land Bank, and I forget the other one. Basta tatlo po siya. Yun na rin po yung kumbaga, if they make a loan with they avail of a multi-purpose loan or short-term loan, this is also since it's powered by these three commercial banks, yung kung ano yung choice ng members, ito na rin po yung disbursement card natin. So it's also an ATM, an ID, a discount card in one, no? So that's isa po yan sa mga pinagmamalaki din ng Pag-ibig Fund, yung Loyalty Card Plus. Next slide, please. The virtual Pag-ibig, no? Again, due to the next slide, please. Hindi po dahil nagkaroon ng pandemic. It's because naging digital ang transaction ng Pag-ibig Fund. The virtual Pag-ibig we launched in December 2019. December 2019 we launched it. Pero at first it was only to serve our members for their membership needs. So pwede sila doon mag-register. Membership registration can be done via virtual Pag-ibig. Pwede sila mag-apply ng multi-purpose loan or pay up their savings or even claim yung mga benefits nila. They can also do simple chat to our members kung meron silang inquiry sa housing loan. The virtual Pag-ibig is not because we nagka-pandemic tayo, no, in 2020. It's because of the digitization effort of the government. Talagang digitization is the way to go. Paperless is the way to go. And that is why we were able to, yung mga nakita po natin mga record-breaking numbers earlier, ito po yung isa sa dahilan, no? Going online, transactions, payment, online na rin yung transactions natin. Yung inquiry, online na rin through our call center. Hindi po to mga chatbots lang na may na di kahon ng mga sagot. These are warm bodies na talagang sasagot to the specific needs of our members here and abroad, hindi lang sa Pilipinas, no? So mas marami tayo na, sir, pati yung mga members natin na nasa sa North America, South America, Europe, Asia, o saan po merong manggagawang Pilipino overseas or local, nasa-serve po ng virtual pag-ibig. Pero because of the pandemic, in-expand natin siya. Hindi lang po yung membership registration. Next slide, please. Kahit po ngayon, even application for housing loan can be done through our virtual pag-ibig, no? Ang isang silver lining lang po nito for nung pandemic, dahil because of the pandemic, baga everybody na prioritize yung digitization, no? Dati parang afterthought lang siya, let's go digital, let's go online. Pero because of the pandemic, naging ano na po tayo, we were able to prioritize yung doing transaction. Even the more complicated housing loan application, we're doing this now online. Kung pwede niyo po siya subukan, live po siya ngayon. You can get a pre-approval. Pwede mo malaman kung magkano yung pwede mong ma-loan, magkano yung income kailangan mo, magkano yung monthly amortization mo through online. And syempre, you can even submit yung mga titles, IDs mo online, yung payslip mo online through our virtual pag-ibig. Although, syempre, these are subject to the submission of the original documents, no? You can get an approval subject to validation nga nung mga documents na submit mo online. Pero you don't even have to go to ang kaganda nun, you don't even have to go to the branch just to inquire, ano ba yung pwede kong ma-loan, ano ba yung mga documents. So yan ang isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit patuloy na record-breaking yung taon-taon ang sa Pag-ibig Fund. And next slide, please. Very soon, for our members here, partner developers na nandito, mga brokers, we will soon have our virtual Pag-ibig for developers. No? Nililinis lang po natin ng konti yung mga bugs, yung mga flaws ng housing loan application, online housing loan application for retail borrowers, for individual members. And very soon, we will have the virtual Pag-ibig for developers. Very soon, our partner developers will be able to know nasa na ba yung mga application na pinasok niya, ano status, ano kulang, ano kailangan niyang gawin, ilan pa yung mga kailangan niyang i-comply. So, para siya magkakaroon ng dashboard sa mga loan application niya, and he will know at which stage nasan yung mga applications submitted ng mga developers, partner developers natin. Next slide, please. Pero kahit na nga the digitization is the way to go, online is yung naging trend natin. Alam na din naman natin na marami tayong mga miyembro na hindi ganun ka-techy. We also launched the Pag-ibig on Wheels, or the ayaw sabihin POW, the Lingkod Pag-ibig on Wheels, the LPOW, no? So, hindi ka makapunta dahil sa pandemic, hindi ka makakapag-access to online because hindi nga po lahat ay techy. Kami ang pupunta sa iyo, no? So, we have recently launched 4 mobile branches, the Lingkod Pag-ibig on Wheels, no? So bringing the branch to our members. So right now we have one for NCR and one mobile branch for Luzon and for Visayas and Mindanao. One each for Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. So right now 4 na mobile branch po ang umiikot para kung hindi ka makapunta sa amin, kami ang pupunta sa iyo. So as of May, as of March, we have served more than 5,000 members of our mobile Pag-ibig branch. Pwede rin po ito na through coordination with your fund coordinators, with your housing relationship officer, kami ang pupunta po sa inyo. Next slide, please. And Gusto ko lang pong i-share sa inyo yung mga awards and recognitions ng Pag-ibig Fund. So, marami pong ginawa ang Pag-ibig Fund, mga numero nakita po natin kanina, pero we are still, and because of that, we were being recognized by different award giving bodies, no. Foremost yung Stevie Awards, no. So the Stevie Awards recognized Pag-ibig Fund and awarded with the Gold Award for the most valuable government response during to the pandemic. Yung mga ginawa ng Pag-ibig Fund internally sa opisina, sa miyembro, sa mga empleyado to help us yung the fund during the pandemic. Nagkaroon po tayo ng consultant, ng medical consultant. Nagkaroon po ng service sa mga empleyado natin para patuloy sila makapasok despite the pandemic at makapaglingkod sa mga miyembro, sa mga partner developers, ma-process yung mga housing loan application without fear na magkasakit sila. 99.99% po na fully vaccinated po ang inyong mga lingkod Pag-ibig. And several other strategies that we implemented to be able to continue to serve the members. We were yun po yung mga nirecognize ng Stevie Award. Next slide, please. And our ninth for the 2020 recently last month we got our 9th consecutive unqualified or unmodified opinion from the Commission of Audit. Ito po isang pinagmamalaki ng Pag-ibig Fund sa mga hindi po para po sa kaalaman ng lahat. Ang getting an unqualified or unmodified opinion from the COA is the highest rating that can be given to any government agency or unit. So we are very proud that we have been doing this for the last 9 years, and hopefully tuloy-tuloy po natin makuha ito na maging maayos ang pagsiservisyo natin sa ating mga miyembro. Next slide, please. And lastly, your Pag-ibig Fund is the most trusted GOCC, no, based on the 2021 Philippine Trust Index. With an 89% rating, ang tumalo lang po sa Pag-ibig Fund is the Department of Education, no? Naka 90% po yata ang DepEd as the most trusted government agency. Pero in terms of the GOCC, your Pag-ibig Fund is the most trusted agency. Next slide, please. So, yan po ang Pag-ibig Fund. So, it's been a pleasure for me to provide the update to the officers and members of CREBA, no? So, let me just continue to deliver the message of our Deputy CEO that for the past 5 years, it has been truly special for Pag-ibig Fund, as we have not only posted our most successful years, but have also shown outstanding resiliency to recover and succeed amid the pandemic. We take pride in our accomplishments because behind the record numbers I reported earlier, Filipinos now have better tomorrows by saving with us and have secured their own homes through our home loan programs. So on behalf of our President and CEO, Ahmad Rizaldi P. Motti, and our Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Manang Marilyn C. Acosta, please allow me to extend our appreciation to the officers and members of the Chamber of Real Estate and Builders Association, or CREBA, for your continued support to Pag-ibig Fund. We are hopeful that your support will extend to the next set of leaders as we transition to the next administration, and we continue to serve and produce innovation towards inclusive housing development and financing schemes. We look forward to more partnerships and collaborations with your respective organization to fulfill our commitment to the industry, to the housing industry. Amid the many changes that we anticipate that would unfold in the following days, Pag-ibig Fund resolved to provide affordable and sustainable shelter to our Filipino workers. May we all work hand in hand to give the Filipino workers better access to affordable and decent shelter that they truly deserve. Maraming salamat po, and magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you. SVP Benji Felix. May I request you to please remain? I know you're so busy because we will have some questions later during the open forum. Thank you, sir.
No problem po, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Now, we will be continuing, but before that, let me recognize some people properly. Our chairman of the board may be online, but I'm not really sure. But let me recognize him, Charlie Vigorayev, our chairman of the board. And let me correct, Jerry Navarrete is our vice chairman for this year. And Jerry Navarrete po, ha? Kasi kanina parang iba yata yung pangalan na nabanggit, no? But we also have our director, Ray Nise, and our VP for International, Evangeline Iya. I also like to thank the team of SBP Benji, ha? Pag-ibig team, ha? They're all very early kanina, nag-log in. And then also the team of Attorney Kabling. Welcome, ha? And thank you very much for supporting this particular forum. Okay, so let me continue. We will now introduce our next lecturer tuloy. Sanay ako sa klase namin eh. Sa EdFrem. EdFrem students, shout out to you. I think some of you are here. So let me recognize and let me introduce our next lecturer. He graduated as well from the University of the Philippines in 1989. He took up law at the Ateneo de Davao University in 1995. In 2000, he headed the Prosecution and Enforcement Unit of the Securities Exchange Commission in Davao City before serving as counselor from 2004 to 2013. It was during this time that he started to champion the improvement of access to housing rights. After his successful stint in public office in Davao City, he was appointed by no less than President Rodrigo Duterte to head the Social Housing Finance Corporation in 2017. Upon assuming leadership, he focused on the forging of strong partnerships with local government units and all stakeholders in the housing sector for the provision of affordable, resilient, and sustainable shelter solutions for low-income Filipinos. And the results have been nothing short of spectacular. To date, HFC has more than 100 LGU partners across the country in implementing the agency's flagship housing initiative, the Community Mortgage Program. Familiar tayo dyan, yung CMP, no? Without further ado, I present to you Attorney Ricardo B. Cabiling, the President of Social Housing Finance Corporation. Good afternoon, sir.
Maraming salamat po, ma'am, at magandang hapon po sa lahat ng ating mga panauhin at mga kasama sa CREBA. Hindi ko lang po kayo isa-isahin dahil nabanggit na po kayo kanina ng ating speaker from Pag-ibig. I have received an invitation from CREBA, and this invitation says that towards this vision, so CREBA is pushing for a home for every Filipino. CREBA's aspiration for the homeless sector are embodied in its 5-point agenda for housing. Okay, a package of policy and legislative reform proposals developed over the years, which target the provision of 500,000 housing units per year to address homelessness within a period of 20 years. So 500,000 housing units, if we multiply that by at least a million per unit, that is actually amounting to about half a trillion a year. And in the advertisement and invitations to participants, CREBA provided this information, a forum on shelter finance, Pag-ibig and Social Housing Finance Corporation. So my talk this afternoon would focus on policy on housing, because that is the tenor of the invitation. how we could possibly provide the 500,000 shelter provisions to the homeless Filipinos. And of course, we know that in doing so, the shelter financing aspect is, I think, one of the most important component in shelter solutions. Okay, now, so we're talking about 500,000 homeless. Whom do we really refer to? Who are really these homeless Filipinos? This is a report from the DSUD to Congress when we discussed the 2022 budget. It says there that as of 2017 to 2022, the total housing need is 6.5 million. Of this, 3.84 million could be prospective SHAPC beneficiaries. But SHAPC is able to address only 15% of this. And that is about, as of 2021, that is about 65,000 only, 128 ISF assisted by SHAPC. So SHAPC, Social Housing Finance Corporation, the agency I represent now, barely made a dent in addressing the housing backlog due to lack of funding. So that was the discussion in Congress. Who is really SHAPC? Do you think SHAPC could address this very huge problem, this magnitude of challenge to provide 3.84 million Filipinos who are considered homeless and underprivileged? What is Social Housing Finance Corporation? Well, SHAPC is a government shelter agency, just like Pag-ibig, NHA, and National Home Mortgage Finance Corporation. Our mandate is to develop and implement social housing programs that cater to organize low-income families. Okay? Thus, CREBA's vision of a home for every Filipino is SHAPC's vision too, because we're supposed to address homelessness of the underprivileged and the marginalized of our society. And I think this is the most challenging task which SHAPC is facing. And we know this is a very big social problem that the country is now facing, especially that we will be changing to another new administration under the presidency of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Most of our clients, as we all know, of course, rely on irregular and low-paying jobs in the informal sector. They don't even have the regular employment, and they don't have formal source of income. But SHAPC is doing its very best to really address this mandate. And our main vehicle for fulfilling this mandate is the Community Mortgage Program, or the CMP, which has been in continuous existence since 1989. And in fact, this program was started by the National Home Mortgage Finance Corporation, and it was carved out from National Home Mortgage Finance Corporation, and SHAPC was purposely created to continue implementing this program in 1986. SHAPC is present nationwide. We are all over the country. We have our branches and regional offices all over the country. Now, so therefore, SHAPC is supposed to do socialized housing through its CMP program. So let us ask ourselves now, what is social housing? To fulfill our shared vision, CREBA's vision and SHAPC's vision, a home for every Filipino, we need to prioritize social housing. Because as you see, the backlog, the biggest chunk of it is supposed to be the clients of Social Housing Finance Corporation. So there's a call, and I think everybody would agree, and in fact, it is the vision of CREBA, that we should provide at least 500,000 houses to every Filipino. The term social housing, okay, which we should, I think everybody would agree, we should prioritize, as diverse definitions in different countries. But all experts agree that it caters to low-income families, because this is one of the programs for poverty reduction, because homelessness is a poverty indicator. And worldwide, we agree that it is an indicator of poverty, and therefore to reduce poverty, the government should address the social concern. And it has, if we have to do it, it has to be affordable and adequate, because it is founded on the belief that housing is a right. Now, let me emphasize a little on housing is a right. What constitutes this right? Now, some sectors are saying, well, the solution is simply build, build, build. Produce, produce, produce. But that is not how social housing is doing it, because we do not like to produce and produce, and there might be oversupply of shelter, and it might contribute to the inventory of unoccupied houses which were produced in the countries in the past years. Now, what is this right all about? So for us, this right is not just a matter of provision of a physical shelter. It is coupled with the right to choose, the right to self-determination, and the right to build the kind of neighborhood you wish to enjoy. So that's why for us, they are supposed to be successful in our implementation of social housing. There's supposed to be 7 main components of social housing. The first is the legal framework. Then the second, institutional arrangements, urban governance versus management, subsidiarity, central role of communities and LGUs. And of course, as I said, the title of the program is based on financing. So therefore, the fourth major component, and which to our mind is the most important, is the budget. And of course, the fifth is the financing system, which should be affordable. And the sixth is the options. As I said, it's a right. And coupled with that right, together with that right, is the right to choose, the right to self-determination. That's why the beneficiaries should be given options which are flexible enough to suit and to fix their plans, their ambitions, their culture, and their way of life. And 7, social services for a sense of neighborhood. So let's discuss a little on these 7 main components, because we will have to address all this, because we are also discussing here the policies which we believe are very important for us to be successful in providing social housing to the homeless and the underprivileged. We have sufficient legal basis for developing social housing in the Philippines, international, national, local, and of course, as provided in our Constitution, everyone has the right to adequate housing. Now, the Constitution says that the state shall undertake a continuing program of urban land reform and housing, which will make available at affordable cost decent housing and basic services. Now, Section 10 is emphasizing what we mean. No resettlement of urban or rural dwellers shall be undertaken without adequate consultation with them and the communities where they are to be relocated. The local government as well provides basis. No? Sinasabi dito sa local government, The code declares power of the local government units to expropriate property for public use or for the benefit of the poor and the landless. And it requires the LGUs to make an inventory of government-owned lands and identify suitable sites for socialized housing, where availability of basic services, proximity to work, and economic opportunities are considered. So we don't simply build shelters in a particular area and you tell the homeless the government intends you to be resettled here, because the laws are very clear. There should be choice. There should be right to self-determination, because it has to consider availability of basic services, proximity to work, and economic opportunities. Now, we are very much aware as builders, developers, and those belonging to the ancillary services in housing that Urban Development and Housing Act of 1992 further provides the provision that decent shelter to the underprivileged and homeless citizens in urban areas and settlement areas whose lives are generally marked by economic insecurities and whose occupancy on land is uncertain. The law promotes strategies such as localization of housing, private-public sector partnership, the beneficiary-led approach to resettlement. It also recognizes the rights of the poor to adequate relocation sites. Now, that's the first component, legal basis. The second is institutional arrangements. Well, it only says here that we have to stress in local in the local government that there should be proper urban governance and not urban management, because urban governance takes into consideration all aspects, no, in implementing socialized housing. No? It is multiple level and it stresses collaboration and participation, and it pulls resources together, and it compares, I make comparisons with the experts, no? And next, please. So this is an example of urban governance, which social housing is really trying to implement and follow. No? We said earlier that in the introduction that social housing has been entering into partnership, into memorandum of agreement with different partners, no? Especially the local governments, because we believe that urban governance is a concern with governing, achieving collective action in the realm of public affairs. Now, this is an example of our socialized housing in Cagayan de Oro, where the national is multi-level, and that's Secretary Del Rosario, and the community, the locals, and the local government, that is Mayor Oscar Moreno of Cagayan de Oro City. I don't know, I'm missing. I don't know. I'm not there, but I was supposed to be there. No, I was there. No, I was there. So it's a collaboration. There are several relationships that you have to consider to make socialized housing implementation a success. No, cities are entangled in complex contingencies. They are in vertical relationships with regions, central governments, and transitional institutions, as well as in horizontal relationships with private business and organized local interests. No? So we have to consider other relationships. There are interlocal government relationship, where the sending LGU of informal communities to a receiving LGU is a big concern and it's a big problem. There are LGUs which do not accept informal communities to be sent in their locality, no, for several reasons. So we have to take into consideration urban governance in trying to implement shelter provisions, especially for the homeless and the underprivileged. And we have to take this into consideration because different actors, no, in these relationships control different types of resources: authority, the knowledge, the financial resources, and the networks that can be brought into support in the pursuit of collective action. Subsidiarity is number 3. What individuals can accomplish by their own initiative and efforts should not be taken from them as higher authority. The government should not dictate. This is the kind of housing which we want to provide you. This is where we want to resettle you. And there should not be blanket devolution of government functions from national to the local. We should empower individuals, families, and voluntary associations to act more efficaciously in their own lives. That's why we also partner with NGOs, mobilizers, and even the academe for their voluntary contribution in trying to implement our CMP program. So there's really this kind of principle of subsidiarity. And now we go to the most important part. And before that, this is a statement from the United Nations. Building more resilient and equitable cities should entail upgrading living conditions in vulnerable communities and informal settlements, while drawing on community knowledge. So we should not take for granted the community knowledge, and that is increasing climate resilient investments. So the next one is the more important one and the most important, which is budget. So where do we get budget to implement socialized housing? Of course, we know from general appropriations, from the annual GAA allocation of DBM, then Congress. And there's this balanced housing requirement where developers doing economic and high-end housing should somehow share and contribute at least 15% of their project to socialized housing for the homeless and underprivileged. And this is a good source. This is a good source of budget. In fact, right now, there is this mode which the department is implementing, where they have the so-called incentivized compliance. The developers put money in the bank and as compliance, and this is being utilized in escrow account, and the money is utilized for non-recoverable components of socialized housing projects. So we have several projects. The one I showed earlier in Cagayan de Oro, the land and the structures, the buildings, the houses were actually funded by social housing, but the site development is funded by the compliance of Sibulan Master. That's why we were there, and the secretary, the local government, and SHOPSI entered into memorandum of agreement. Entered into memorandum agreement for Sibulan Master to implement its housing balance requirement in that project. It's about 48 million pesos yung requirement ng Sibulan Master, which we agreed that there will be a covered court, there will be a daycare center, and of course the road network and the drainage system will be done by Sibulan Master. We have another project there in Balubal, in Cagayan de Oro. It was the Camellia Group also, which provided about 78 million for the site development as compliance to balance housing. And of course, there are local governments with enough budget. They do help in implementing socialized housing. One example is Quezon City during the time of Mayor Bistek, Herbert Bautista, where they keep doing socialized housing and they come to us for refinancing. So we refinance it, and the account, the loan is transferred to us. So we collect from the beneficiaries, and the government, the local government, continues to build socialized housing for its constituents. Now, there's a Magna Carta for the Poor that expressly prioritizes budget for social housing, but it is not followed. It's not being followed. We are really having a problem. Every year, we make representations to DBM. We go to Congress. We appeal. And that's why I think all sectors involved here, all stakeholders must help social housing. Let's make representations that the Magna Carta for the poor should be recognized and should be given budget, because it says there that it's one of the priority program of the government. It should be one of the priority programs of the government. And it is, as I said earlier, a poverty indicator. And as a poverty reduction approach, we have to do socialized housing. And that is recognized by this law. And yet, if you see the budget every year, you'll be surprised. Since 2008, the national budget for housing is only 1.227 billion from the appropriations for housing is it's only about 4 billion, and what is given for, I think, socialized housing is only 1.2, but that is actually just 0.40% of the national budget, and the average is actually 0.71%. It's pitiful, no? It's pitiful that the budget is only that much, and this amount is not for socialized housing, but for the entire housing family. So the 0.40%, the 0.45%, and the lowest was 2018, 0.14%. And that was the time when the department was created. That was the time the department was created, and we were only given 0.14%. That includes already the operation cost of the SHUD and the budget for socialized housing for SHAPC, for NHA, and for National Mortgage Finance Corporation. And of course, our friend Pag-ibig is not receiving any budget, annual budget from the General Appropriations Act, no? Because they have their money from the members. No. So next slide, please. So if you look at this, the comparative share of housing budget with other sectors or agencies. Look at this. In 2019, no, housing is only given 0.08%. Halos isang napakalit na line lang po siya in the pie of our national budget every year. Next slide, please. Of course, if we have the budget, which is supposed to be the most important, and yet we don't receive that budget, so how does social housing able to somehow address, no? As of last year, we were able to, in totality, since the onset of social housing, we were able to provide about 12.20 billion in housing loans, and that's about 121 ISF families, no? Informal families assisted already, no? 100,000 only, because we are so limited with our budget. So how do we do it? First, we really try to minimize our operation cost, because we are not also given budget for our operation cost. We get it from what we earn. And SHAPC is also asked, because a government corporation is required to remit dividend to the national government every year, and is required to pay taxes to the government every year. And we have been remitting dividend and we have been paying taxes, except in 2020, during the height of the pandemic, where SHAPC really registered a negative bottom line in its financial statement, because the jobless, those were unemployed, terminated from work because of the pandemic, actually are beneficiaries. No? So in order to increase and improve our collection of whatever money we expose to loans to our beneficiaries, we tailor it, no? Ang aming mga pabahay, we tailor it to the affordability level of the poor, no? That's why yung ceiling ng for socialized housing na 580,000, we still apply it, and we're happy to report na nakagawa pa naman kami ng bahay na in accordance with the standard and ceiling set by the department also, in terms of lot area and in terms of floor area, no? So we could still say that the houses we build are really adequate and enough, no, to make the family live in comfort to the shelter we provide them. And we provide socialized rates. For those with fixed income, we ask them to pay 6%. Those with intermittent income, 4.5%. And those na kailangan talagang tulungan, we provide 2%. That's annual interest, no? 2%. And it's the lowest in the industry. It's the lowest among all shelter agencies. Because we have to be inclusive. We cannot be selective. Because UDHA law is very clear. We have to address homelessness, and the targets, the priority beneficiaries are those living in the danger zone, those affected by government project, and those with threats of demolition. So we cannot say, oh, ito lang aming bibigyan ng pabahay dahil ito lang may kabayad. We have to provide shelter to all of them. That's why we offer them socialized rates, and we extend subsidies, especially at the technical aspect, the surveys of their lots, the engineering cost. We provide that, no? And of course, we receive some grants from escrow fund of the DSUD, as I explained and showed to you earlier, no? So that's how it is with respect to our budget and financing system, no? And so far, nakaka-sustain po ang SHAPC. And through the years, we were able to reach the highest naman collection. It's more than $1 billion a year. And 600,000 of that is for our operation costs, and another 600,000 binabalik po namin sa aming programs, plus what we receive from the government. And we are thinking again, although hindi pa namin nagagawa, but ready now, we have prepared it na mag-float kami ng CMP bonds as compliance to socialized housing requirement of high-end and economic housing developers, no? So we are not yet floating it because nga we argued in Congress na yung aming isang program, the HDH, the 50 billion fund, we were only given 13 billion to implement, no? Yung sa Waterways of Metro Manila, na ang 13 po, no, out of the 50 billion, ang 13 billion po binigay sa SHAPC. Marami hong hindi namin na-implement as fast as it could kasi marami mga problema because it's in city, no? Sa Metro Manila ba naman, no, maraming problema on the implementation or the in near city, no? So nagkaroon ng maraming problema, so napending yung pera, and we begged and argued and made representations that we be allowed to realign that, no, or to modify that for the meantime. And Congress, no, had a special provision in the GAA that SHAPC will be allowed to realign that. That's why we are able to sustain, and we are still, no, ang rate pa rin namin every year is parang 2 billion, no? We provide shelter projects at the rate about 2 billion a year, no? So we just simply have to be creative, no? Because I made representations to NEDA, attended the NEDA meeting, and I was told, well, lahat naman sa gobyerno nangangailangan, lahat ng ahensya nangangailangan ng budget, so we simply have to be creative about it. So lahat na klaseng creativity po ginagawa ng SHAPC para ma-sustain namin yung aming programs, no? And of course, kasi nga we have to address the poorest of the poor, the need of the poorest of the poor, we are providing them flexible options. We have bundle of rights, but of course, all of these options provide security of tenure, no? And there are multiple ways of doing that, no? And we also consider the life cycle of the families, no? Small families, singles, and all those things with respect to their paying capacity and the period for them to pay their loans, no? So it's supposed to be 25 years, but lately we extended it not to 30 to 35 years, and we reduced the interest rate, and we apply the horizontal application of payments, no? Wherein, if a borrower comes to us and brings 50,000, na magkaroon siya ng bonus of 50,000 or sabi siya nakakuha ng 50,000, matagal-tagal siya din nakapagbayad, we don't apply that to penalty or to interest. We try to distribute that equally to penalty, interest, and principal to really help our clients. Now, as I said, we provide options and we try to evolve the CMP program, and we now have 12 modalities. No? So we are now topped by the other agencies of the government. No? Yung number one kasi, yung on-site, that is where SHAPSI is known. No? We negotiate with the landowner to avoid demolition and eviction. So we pay the landowner, on-site sila. At inaayos na lang namin yung site nila, but we cannot pay it unless we do some re-engineering, kaya medyo matagal, re-architecturing, re-blocking, to make it compliant with the BP 22 standards. No? Special projects namin ito yung sa mga national governments. No? DOTR partnered with us, provided funds, at least nakakolekta yung SHAPSI ng management fee. Nagagamit naman namin sa aming other projects. No? We are tasked to do resettlement of the occupants of the Riles from Tutuban, Manila to Calamba, Laguna. No? We partner with some LGU, we call it LGU's MP. Kasi yung LGUs kasi minsan maraming natutulong. No? It's really a collaboration. There are LGUs with lands already acquired by them in their name, and some will just donate it, some would resell it at acquisition cost, which was years ago. No? And we provide sectoral for the teachers, for the government workers. We are still developing our guidelines on farmland. No? Kasi nga, sabi natin, it has to be holistic. We have to provide livelihood. But every beneficiary has different background, has different skills and experience, work experience. But I think everybody knows how to plant, no? To do a little agriculture. So we are still finalizing the guidelines. We want to bring the communities to the periphery of the cities where there is transportation, there is electricity, there's water, there's connectivity. But we give them 500 square meters, probably 1,000, depending on the cost. We build a house for them and we teach them compact and organic farming. Now, we are still developing this concept, and hopefully we can roll this out early this administration. And industrial workers. Sometimes we partners with employers. There are employers also willing to help the workers. Sige, kami na lang magbibigyan ng lupa. Okay? Sige, gagawa namin ng basketball court or multi-purpose hall from the company. No? We have also projects like that. No? Housing for Peace Process and Nation Building. We participated in the Marawi rehabilitation. No? We have our separate project. Now, where do we get money? Well, we were able to get from the National Risk Reduction Fund for land acquisition and site development, and we partnered with UN Habitat. We were able to get grant from the Japanese government, and we were able to build about 600 to 700 houses in Marawi, which we have already completed. We also do post-disaster rehabilitation. We call this post-disaster rehabilitation CMP. We were in Yolanda, we were in Sendong, in Cagayan de Oro, in Tacloban, and medyo natagalan din. Tinatapos pa rin namin yung iba. Kasi nga, because of so many factors and considerations, no, in implementing socialized housing. Socialized housing is the most complicated program of government. It's so intricate and in such a way that there are so many considerations that we have to take. No? But we in SHAPSI, we believe that if we were able to do it, it is the most fulfilling for us. No? At least we make a little difference man lang sa need ng mga homeless Filipinos. No? We are able to set the direction on how we should rightfully and correctly do it. No? Now, we do vertical, CMP. Kasi nga, mahal ang lupa at marami na kami na tayong vertical na CMP. We are trying to do mixed use. And number 12, the culturally sensitive CMP. Now, we are doing turnkey CMP. We partner with the private sector. As I said, we do it by collaboration. We partner with the LGU. We partner with the private sector. We partner with the church for values formation. And this turnkey nga namin, bago ito, yung mga developers, they say, okay, yung aming mga niland bank na lupa, may sobra kami, gawin lang namin socialize. No? Maganda naman ito. Of course, we consult the community if they like the site. If they want to build the communities they dream of for their families in that particular area. So we do turnkey. So we pay them per units completed, no longer progress billing. So these are the different approaches we adopt for the implementation of our community mortgage program. Before, SHOPS is only known for number one modality, which is on-site. And we have developed this through the years, all the other modalities, and we have all the examples for each one, no? Except for farm lot and the mixed use, because it might cost so much, no? Because it has to include commercial and other uses in that particular development or project site. And of course, there should be social services. So this is crucial for poverty reduction and resilience building. And we can do this by collaboration and of course participation by the different sectors. We're doing that. We partner with some industries. They give us donations. And of course, stakeholders, the different stakeholders should be part of it so that we could build sense of neighborhood. So communities can support each other in the long term in times of crisis. And to be able to build resilient and sustainable communities, we capacitate our beneficiaries. We do community development and social empowerment. We provide skills training. We provide livelihood support for them to help each other as a community in times of crisis. More resources, more income means being able to better prepare for and recover fast from disasters. Make sure that the livelihood is also resilient. These are examples of our livelihood, which projects and programs we provided our communities. So we have discussed the 7 components, no, of housing, social housing in general. But CMP in particular, we say we have special features of CMP project in particular. Hindi ho kami nagpapagawa ng mga bahay. Yung pong community, no, organized community, legally registered, sila po ang nangangarap together. Sila po ang nagpaplano together. We simply finance their dreams, their plan, and their ambition for their family. So that's why we tell them, we have to empower you because you have to do the monitoring of the projects. You have to help us supervise the project. But we send our technical people to train you. That way po, yung aming mga projects ay masasabi natin, may sense of ownership po yung aming mga beneficiaries. And that's why seldom can you see a CMP project na unoccupied or inayawan ng mga beneficiaries because in the first place, sabi namin, yun yung plano nyo, yun yung pangarap ninyo. Kayo nagpagawa. Kayo nag-supervise. We simply finance for you to be able to achieve your dream and your aspirations. And as I said earlier, it's community-driven. And community-driven is not enough. No? Sometimes if we rely on the community, the member beneficiaries, there are abuses committed by the officers. That's why we said it should no longer be called community-driven. It should be stakeholders, collaboration-driven. At least andyan yung local government, andyan yung civil society, andyan yung church. At maganda po ang nangyayari kung lahat ng stakeholders po ay nagpa-participate. No? And as I said, we cater to organized communities. Now, yung aming organized communities po is not an open market. We don't accept stakeholders kung sino lang gusto, sino makapagbayad ng membership fee. There is commonality or homogeneity among them. So lahat sila nasa galing sa danger zone or sa government projects affected areas, or a mixture. 30% from danger zone affected by government projects yung area nila, or may threat of demolition, or may halong sectoral, may kasama mga teachers, may kasamang mga government workers. Para that way po, may sense of neighborhood sila. Kung may sense of neighborhood, it's easy to tap the neighborhood aspect of it. No? Kumbaga, next to your family is your neighbor. Kung may pangailangan ka, ang pwede makatulong sa'yo ay yung kapitbahay mo. Diba? Yung sinasabi namin, proudly we're saying na talagang matibay po yung sense of neighborhood ng aming mga communities. No? And because of that, madali ho nating masasabi na we could easily tap the Bayanihan spirit or the spirit of solidarity among the Filipinos. Again, it's not financing everything, no? Na talagang pupunta sa bahay nila, kukuha nila sa susi at papasok na lang sila. No, it's not. There are components of the projects na minsan kailangan pa nating pagtulungan para ayusin. Lalong-lalo na pagdating ng panahon to sustain the community, dapat po magtulungan. Yun po ang approach ng CMP program. Kaya nga po, the 7 components discussed of what is socialized housing, plus the way we implement it, we have our special features of the CMP projects. We say that we just don't build the shelter, the physical shelter. We are actually together as members of the community, and we encourage you also to take part in our projects and our programs, because the 6.5 million homelessness is not an easy task for the next administration. And I hope we will be touched and ignited by the spirit of our social responsibility. We do it together as stakeholders. We are all the stakeholders here. And for us to be able to build sustainable and smart communities, not just shelter provisions, but we want to build sustainable and smart communities. Thank you very much, po. And I hope I have addressed the topic on policies, and of course, the very important topic on the budget, and which is actually a continuing plea and appeal by Social Housing Finance Corporation to the government and to the different stakeholders. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon, at maraming salamat sa pagkakataong ito na may pahayag namin kung ano ba talaga yung Social Housing Finance Corporation.
Thank you very much, Attorney Cabling. That was a very comprehensive presentation. Now, I would like to request the 2 gentlemen to please stand by for some questions. I think our President Toti will join us in the open forum. But before we proceed to open forum, let me recognize some 2 VIPs, our officers who are here right now. Let me recognize our past President, Jimmy Cura, is also online. And of course, our VP for Chapter Affairs of CREBA National, Jocelyn Humol, Joe Humol. So, Mr. President, do you have any reaction to the speech of the 2 gentlemen before we proceed to the Q&A?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would like to thank the 2 gentlemen, and I would like to commend them for a well-prepared report on what the agencies are doing. This gives us a better understanding of the mandate that each one is giving out. The figures, however, I have some little reaction on this. First, on Pag-ibig, well, it seems like Pag-ibig is on its way to really improving, even despite the pandemic, the records that they have, which is quite notable. And takeouts of 63 billion in 2021 will be broken, hopefully now in 2022. And however, what seems to be of concern is where is Pag-ibig really going to go, notwithstanding the amount of backlog. It seems like the number of housing loan takeout is really still very small in terms of what the need is. So maybe there are my reaction is that they have new programs. They have new programs that hopefully would entice more members to avail of takeouts and more members availing of housing loans. But again, the question of affordability comes into play. That is why probably it's still low in terms of 94,000 housing loan borrowers when the backlog is still about 6 million. The same goes true also for socialized housing, which is quite alarming, but it was really a good number. I mean, it was a good take on what they really have to do, which is you have identified that there is about 3.8 million in terms of SHOPSI potential clients. Kitang-kita that this is where the need really for housing is. And if we are to go at the same rate of providing services, it will take us more than 500 years just to address this backlog. Kasi maliit pa lang ang nasa service, no? It's even less than 1%. It's only 0.6% of the total need. So where do we go from there? It will take us so many years just to finally make a dent, no? So I guess tama si Attorney Cabling, not only should there be emphasis on the budget, but also just like what CREBA has been espousing, let's look at existing programs and law where we can identify budgets that are in place already and shift them to sustain the fund so that more and more people will be encouraged to really take out kasi masusustain nyo na yung fund, no? And also, government is not the only partner that we can rely on as far as this mandate is concerned. Maraming private developers then who would want to help. But right now, what is the percentage of private developers going into socialized housing? It's very minimal. And that seems to be the big indication that there's something drastic that needs to be done. How do you incentivize? Maybe we're out of reality already. It's just like you need to find more programs that would entice developers to comply and to actually look at it as an opportunity to contribute to nation building. I think CREBA is at the forefront of that, and there are many, many responsible developers that are willing to do that. No? Let's just make it a reality as far as these figures are concerned. And I hope the other developers are here and would be able to contribute ideas on how we can become even more effective, not only in Pag-ibig, but most especially in the Socialized Housing Finance Corporation as well, which is a bigger market. Thank you very much, Abe. And gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to CREBA. It was really an eye-opener for a lot of us that can contribute on making this successful. Maraming salamat.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I think we have enough time. We have 20 minutes. We are supposed to end at 4 p.m. And we will give the floor now to me. But before that, let me recognize very quickly our CREBA chapters who are here. Sir, nationwide ho tayo ha. CREBA Jensen, Dr. Emily Lagare, CREBA La Union, Cheryl Mercado, CREBA Baguio, Rosa Antabora, CREBA Caraga, CREBI Hongkolada, and CREBA Cebu, Marisa Intig. They're all online now and has been with us since the beginning of this program. So let me start with our SVP Benji. So it says here, since sa Pampanga Dream Home, since real estate po kami, yung loyalty card ba, may discount ba sa gasoline? OMG, lahat ngayon gasoline ang concern. Ano po ito? Do you have any idea on this?
At present, wala po tayong partner na gasoline station. Kasi nga, medyo, I think, they still on their own, no? Pero we'll look into that, no? To partner with them, no? Kasi,
okay,
if
so
they can partner with groceries, pwede rin sa Pag-ibig po. At present, wala po.
Wala pa, okay. Pero may balak po ba yan?
Opo, we can call them and entice them to join our loyalty card program. Wala pong ano dyan.
Parang yan yung mas importante ngayon yung mga ganyan discount, no?
Lahat po tayo, yun ang ating concern ngayon. Lahat po tayo.
Okay, so
Ako na po ang mag-spearhead niyan
Thank you,
kasi
sir.
apektado rin po tayo lahat niyan eh.
O, syempre. Tapos ang galing ng efforts ng Pag-ibig. Good job. I agree with that. Good job talaga. Pag-ibig. Okay. So let me go to the other questions here. Okay. So how to get accredited? Ito pa, isusunod-sunurin ko na lang to and then you can answer. Wait a minute. Do we have implementing agencies or instrumentalities to execute said Magna Carta for the poor? This is Attorney Cabling for you.
Yes, SHFC is supposed to implement the socialized housing program, but the problem is how do you implement the program and how do you implement that law when there is no budget being given? In fact, I forgot to mention that the budget being given to social housing in the GAA for the CMP program, I think because last year was only 300 million. And yet we were able to provide about 2 billion out of the collections, out of, pooling of resources, partnering with different stakeholders. No, so you see the disparity, and I think in the previous years by 200 million lang. If you look at the ceiling, that's about only 4 houses that can be built. How can you build communities? So that's a problem. So and they were happy. They were happy na we were able naman to assist about 1,200 families, 100,000 families for the last few years, and we were able to build about 65 or 90 communities, no, out of the resources that is being given to us, no. So yes, we are supposed to be the right agency.
Thank you, sir. Kulang pa sir yan no? Yung mga talagang kulang. Kulang po tayo. But anyway, we're going there. So another question is how to get accredited with SHFC. Could you recommend a point person as we have a very hard time reaching your team? Uy, hindi naman siguro. So siguro sir, sabihin niyo kung sino ba ang point person.
Yes, we have our separate department, an independent department, the Partners Relations Department, headed by Attorney Sally Tagian, purposely to accredit and to partner with different stakeholders.
Sino po sir? Sani De Guia.
Sally po.
Sally De Guia.
Tagian po.
Tagian. So can we reach her through, siguro ilagay sa chat group yung email niya. So our members can reach them or can reach her, email her.
In a while, we will do that. But
Yes,
in Makati office po namin, in BDO Plaza, in Paseo de Rojas,
Ayun,
nasa
Sally.
6th floor po sila.
Okay, Attorney Sally Tagian, VP of SHFC PRD. So yan. Okay, please take note of that. Next, ito mahaba ito. We are real estate developer focusing on socialized and economic housing. Currently, we are considering partnering ourselves with organizations for us to be able to provide more housing for the poor. We tried to check about the CMP and we are interested to know more about this program. My questions are, what are the requirements for a developer to be accredited with SHFC? And I saw the list of requirements, and part of the requirements are proof of development. Are there exemptions to this? Mukhang bago
Yes,
siya. So,
we welcome beginners. We welcome new partners, young developers. And in fact, we are saying that we can forego with the track record requirement. Your pilot project with us could be considered as your track record. We have exemptions for that general rule. We have new partners and beginners, no, in the industry.
okay, thank you, sir. Sana complete documents yan, para you can also check the track record, mga previous projects nila in the past.
We do, but we know there are beginners, young ones who would like to join, so we welcome them. So we assist them.
Yung kahit wala po pong project,
that's why we tell them we give you first pilot phase. Palit lang, mga accounting units lang, say 50 units, and then we evaluate you based on that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Another one from Caroline. Does SHFC provide incentives to real estate companies for us in turn collaborate with the national government in offering inexpensive housing for the poor? Incentives po, ano po mga incentives?
Well, we pay the land and with respect to incentive, I think that's already a transaction between the landowner and those in real estate profession, no? But Shopsy has been paying lands, no, for socialized housing, and we have been paying in cash, no. We simply execute accommodation mortgage and deed of sale, then Shopsy pays lands. Even during the pandemic, we've been paying so many landowners because we believe that we have to release the money, no, for it to be part of the economic trigger, especially during the pandemic, no. So I think that's the best incentive because many developers actually don't pay the land in cash. They enter into joint venture agreement, but Shopsy does pay the lands in cash.
Okay, that's very clear. Now, another one from Ike. On CMP, does the title need to be utilized or can it be under the community organization or cooperative's name, not the individual beneficiary?
Yes, we really ask the landowner to execute the title, the transfer of title to the community or the HOA's name.
To the organization.
To the organization, because the mortgage is actually done by the organization. The borrower is the organization. Individualization of title will come later when they're about to fully pay their respective lots.
Okay, okay. So malinaw po yan ha, sa organization ang transfer, hindi po sa mga individual agad. Okay. Now, another one, under the CMP program, will SAFC need to credit or qualify individual beneficiaries, or the organization or the cooperative will be the one who will be the one to qualify or pre-qualify? What is the policy? If you can refer to a policy guideline handout, we will appreciate. I think you mentioned that already, but you can also repeat that, sir.
We check the qualification of all individual members plus the qualification of the organization, because we have to assess, because we offer socialized housing rate, which interest rate shall we charge you as an individual. It's not uniform all throughout across the organization, because we said those who are really needing help, we offer 2% annual interest, and those with fixed income na medyo comfortable naman, 6% annual interest. It's really socialized, no? It's socialized.
Yeah, so it's pro rata. So kung
Yes.
mababa interest, mababa income.
Yes.
Ayun, okay, that's very clear. Thank you, sir. Now from Randy, sir, SVP Benji, is there a way to minimize requirements from Pag-ibig? Sandali. Wait lang ha, medyo may pumapasok. Okay. Is there a way to minimize requirements for Pag-ibig takeout to fast-track release of takeout proceeds to developers? Marami yata requirements, Sir Benji, ha?
For the last few years, we have actually reduced the number of requirements for Pag-ibig loan takeouts. Now, from before 14, it's now down to 7. 7 na lang po ang kailangan natin. Basically, title, tax deck, income documents. The very basic na lang po ang hinihingi natin. No? So, ang nagiging problema po yata ng ating mga member borrowers, even our partner developers, is their transactions with the other agencies like the BIR and the RDE. This is really beyond the control of Pag-ibig Fund. Pero as far as the loan evaluation or of the capacity nyo to loan, we have already reduced it to the barest of minimum prescribed by law and the Commission of Audit. Na ito yung mga pinaka minimum na kailangan natin to evaluate yung capacity mo and the viability of you taking up a loan with Pag-ibig Fund. So from high maximum 14 dati mas marami pa, is now down to 7, including the housing loan application, no? So ilang supporting documents lang kailangan hinihingi natin. Kasi nga po, because of the changes made by the ARTA, no? So talaga pong ni-review po natin ng husto yan, and as of now, I believe ina po yung pinaka-konti natin. 7 lang po ang kailangan po natin.
O take note ha, Randy, 7 na lang ha, baka mali pa yung, you have to get the updated list of requirements, no? Baka iba na yung listahan nyo. So I think, yun nga, bare minimum na. Okay, another one from Joanne Lee. The availability through financing via Pag-ibig is quite hard or not easy to apply from kapwa Filipinos, no? Kasi they are so strict on documentation and requirements. In fact, the developers already check their capability to pay the clients, knowing it's a government housing program. So yan, meron siyang, ano ba to? Question ba to? Complain. Sir.
Siguro differentiate ko na lang, no? The Pag-ibig fund is a key sugar agency of the government. Pero po yung pondo na ginagamit po natin to finance the housing program sa Pag-ibig Fund ay galing po sa contribution ng bawat membro. Ito po yung 100 pesos na dinakaltas natin sa bawat manggagawa na tinatapatan na employer 100 pesos and kumikita at kung ano man po ang kinita nito sa pagpapautan ng housing loan o sa multipurpose loan, binabalik din po natin sa miyembro. Hindi po tayo kumukuha unlike sa kanina po, sinasabi po ni SHAPC President Attorney Cabling that they have problems getting budget from the national government, no? So hindi po these are private funds of the members of our members, no? So we really kailangan po talaga natin protektahan itong itong pondong ito. Pera po niyo to, pera po ng mga miyembro, pera po natin lahat ito, lahat po ng manggagawang Pilipino. This is not drawn from the national budget, no? So and kung kumita man po ito, napautan natin ng maayos, nakolekta natin ng maayos, napaikot natin ng maayos. Kung alam mo pong kinita nito, ibabalik po sa inyo in the form of dividends, no? So lumalaki po yan at after niyo mag-retire, makukuha po ninyo uli. Para pong savings niyo po ito, para pong bangko na yung contribution ay isipin po natin na savings siya, na deposito yan, na kumikita, na pagkatapos ng term, makukuha mo siya. Pwede mo siyang makuha after 20 years, after 10 years, optional, pwede mo makuha yung contribution mo sa Pag-ibig Fund. So we really have to protect it and manage it well. And kung ano man po yung sinasabing mahirap, we actually have reduced it nga po. Katulad sa tanong kanina, from a high of 14, 17 na nga lang pong kailangan po natin dokumento para maka-loan ka sa Pag-ibig Fund.
Yes, that's true. Because yun nga, madami before, now parang streamline na yung inyong mga documents. So I agree with that. Okay, so I hope, Joanne, nasagot yan. Another question here from Randy Umali again. We are a realty company. Can Pag-ibig help us by way of developmental, I think they have loan ito, developmental loan. Even we have existing loans with the private banks. Meron silang siguro developmental loan din with other private banks. So is that possible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Opo, Randy. Sino ba yung tanong? Si Randy ba? Or
Randy.
Meron po tayong developmental loans na available to our partner developers. We have the direct developmental loan. Meron din po tayong house construction financing loan facility na available po sa mga accredited partners po natin. No? So, kung you can always approach us paano kayo makakabili nito. Accredit lang po kayo sa Pag-ibig Fund, and we do have loan programs for partner developers for their developmental needs or even for their home construction needs.
Yes.
In fact po, isa sa mga program na nilaunch namin in 2020 to help tide our partner developers, we appropriated 10 billion in 2020 at the start of the pandemic para kasi nagsara po yung mga negosyo, no? Problema ng mga developers na sila kukuha ng pangpatuloy negosyo nila. We actually appropriated 10 billion in 2020. Up to now, available pa po yung pondo na yan sa mga partner developers natin para diretso yung housing loan production and hindi mag-stop despite the restrictions set by the pandemic.
Okay, 10 billion hindi pa nauubos yan, sir, no?
Hindi po. And kung kailangan pa po, we can even appropriate more.
Okay. So anyway, another one from April, is the certificate of completion still a requirement for loan takeout? Certificate of completion, di ba progressive po kayo?
It is for Pag-ibig po.
Oo. For developers po ito.
Hindi
di
po
ba
natin
progress billing yan?
Hindi. Is this for end user po ba?
Is the certificate of completion. Ibig sabihin, may bahay yan.
Ay,
completion completion.
Kung meron pong kung siyang house construction siya, siyempre staggered release po siya. Before i-release yung final, we need the certificate of occupancy. Certificate of completion, hindi po tayo humihingi po niyan. Kasi kung developer assisted po yung kanyang pag-loan, si developer na po ang
bahala doon.
Bahala doon.
And then
pero kung retail borrower ka, apply ka ng house construction, staggered billing po siya, staggered release.
Correct.
At bago po natin release yung final 10%, kailangan fully completed po talaga yung bahay. And
Merong
certificate of occupancy po hinahanap po natin na nakukunin po sa local government.
Sa LGU yan. Okay. Okay, another one from Randy. Can Pag-ibig reduce the retention from take-out releases, 10.5% to 5%? Retention po ito yung naiiwan, di ba sinabi mo? 10.5, 5% na lang daw.
Ang ating pong retention ay depende po kung ano po yung pinapa-undertake ninyo. No? So, kung meron kang gustong, may requirement kami na hindi mo pa kayang i-submit pero gusto mo mag-release na kami ng pondo sa iyo, usually partner developers execute an undertaking. O hindi ko muna ilalagay yung yung power supply or yung water supply. Okay, sige, pero per law, dapat po fully completed yung bahay bago po namin kayo bayaran. Or meron po namang mga partner developers nag-undertake na hindi ko muna gagawin yung sidewalk kasi nasisira kasi meron pa akong development sa loob na nagagawin. Nasisira pagpasok ng mga truck. So to help our partner developers, okay, take out na namin yan, pero magre-retain kami sa iyo para in case na hindi mo siya magawa, kami ang gagawa nito para sa mga home housing loan buyers mo. Kasi in case hindi mo nilagay yung side curb and gutter or even yung water tank or hindi ka nag-install ng power line, nawala ka na, although hindi naman nangyayari yan, it's just a retention to ensure that in case may mangyari, the fund will be used to complete whatever yung mga in-undertake mo, all for the security and the benefit of your home buyers, no? So, yun po yung yun po yung
kaya lang sir, ang sabi niya 10.5 to 5%. Possible ba yan?
Ma'am, ang dagdag ko na lang, ng retention, depende nga po sa in-undertake, it ranges from 3%, 2%, 1.5. Baka po sinasabi niyan 10.5 dahil madami po siyang ina-undertake. Sa totoo lang po, wala po kaming ganung kalaking amount of retention for a single undertaking. It's a possibility an accumulation of several undertakings that they have executed with the fund, no? So depende po yan, and we have computed po na kunyari nga po na ito lang yung undertaking, ito lang amount para lang ma-complete yung kunyari hindi ko malalagay yung facilities, we stop at kung ano lang yung amount na pwede na equivalent ng specific undertaking, no? So yun po yung ginagawa. As far as the deduction, kumbaga na-compute na po natin na per unit 3% ng unit yung nung portion na to yung curb and gutter or yung sometimes po ina-undertake nila yung final coating. It's the amount is already pre-computed to the and subject for evaluation kung puno na siya, tumitigil na naman po tayo sa pag-undertake. Sa pag-retain.
Pag-retain, oo. Pag nakikita mo ng halos kumpleto na and everything, no?
Kunyari po in-undertake niya yung playground. Ang halaga lang para mabuo siya 2 million lang. Pag naka 2 million na po tayo, hindi na tumitigil na po tayo sa pag-undertake. Pero hindi naman po tayo maabot doon. Hindi naman po tayo maabot sa pagsara.
So anyway, before I go to Attorney Cabling, ito may isa pa from Clara. Can someone loan with Pag-ibig without work? Pwede ba yun? Di ba member dapat ng may work? Or po voluntary? Is it possible? Without work, pwede ba yun, sir?
Matanong ko lang po siya, kung wala po siyang work, paano po siya magbabayad ng kanyang utang?
Contribution, okay.
Kailangan po membro po. Kailangan po membro po para makapag-loan.
First of all, membro. No, kasi may mga kasambahay po tayo, nagme-member na ngayon, voluntary po eh. May work.
Yes, ma'am. Pwede po yan. May work po sila.
May work, okay. Okay, may work, Clara. Okay, next from attorney, ito on CMP, if the land is under a use of arrangement, can SHFC fund the house portion of the loan? Ito yung use of ito po yung long-term loan 50 years minimum yata, up to 99 years, no? Attorney Cabling, are you still there? Wala na ba si attorney?
Yes, ma'am. I'm still here. I'm
Ah,
still
you're
here.
still there. Okay.
As I said, we provide different modalities and solutions and flexible enough. No, we have projects like that. We have models like that where the local government would say, we don't like to sell the land. We want to keep it, and we just want to execute a usufructuary agreement with the beneficiaries. And we request SHAPC to develop and construct the houses. We have models like that, ma'am. Because the local government are saying na limited yung aming area kasi maliit lang kami na local government, baka maubusan kami ng lupa. So we'll just do it through usufructuary arrangement. We have that, ma'am.
So possible yung usufructuary arrangement. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
possible
Very
ah.
much.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Very much.
Very good, very good. Thank you. And then, ito talaga namang pwede. Ito, can a member loan for titling of their plot in Pag-ibig? Di ba pwede po yan? SBP Benji? Pwede po.
Ang tinatanggap po, meron po siyang I think
Bibili siyang lot. Kung may lot na siya, pwede loan yan.
kailangan po title po. Title
Of
lot lang
course,
po ang
title.
tinatanggap natin for collateral.
Okay,
So,
title.
Pero right now po, even yung mga agricultural
Basta residential attorney Yun ang pagkaalam ko
Opo, residential po tinatanggap. Basta may title po, yun po ang tinatanggap
Title
natin
o
for
residential. Sige po. And then, for developer daw yun. For developer to si April, yung tinatanong niya kanina. Anyway, from Elmer, in relation to Pag-ibig's house construction financing line, a developer can avail of this line provided the developer has a 3-year track record daw. Now with Pag-ibig, can this 3-year track record be reduced or eliminated? Is that possible?
yung track record po, ang ating po titingnan ay yung track record niya sa housing industry, hindi po sa Pag-ibig Fund. No? So, if they have a proven track record sa housing industry na kaya niyang magbuo ng bahay, tingnan natin yung past project niya, pwede po siya mag-avail ng house construction financing line. Papa-credit nga lang din po kayo sa Pag-ibig Fund. Yun po.
Yeah.
Pero the track record po pertains to your experience in the housing industry. No? So, siya, kailangan po natin tingnan yung mga past projects mo po.
Yeah, we're doing overtime already. We only have 5 minutes to do all this. Matagal po, ito pa from Randy, matagal po kasi yung sa BIR, kaya po baka pwede ma-reduce yung retention for the undertaking. So he needs siguro some funds to, alam niyo mga BIR, marami binabayaran dyan. So yun lang naman ang kanyang feedback. Okay, from conception, may case po akong na-encounter, ang project developer is a house and lot, but later on sinabi ng developer, sa buyer na ang approve lang ng Pag-ibig is for lot only. Nagbabayad na ng down payment, nagbayad na ng down payment ng buyer when she was informed that Pag-ibig granted her loan with respect to lot only. Ang pinangbayad siya, nag-separate amount for the house. Is it possible po? So house and lot, biglang naging lot. Meron ho bang ganong kaso? House and lot, naging lot. Ang na-approve lang daw ng Pag-ibig.
Hindi ko po masagot kung yung concern niya, pero baka po kasi na-approve lang, depende sa capacity to pay niya, itong amount lang pong ito. Pero kung talagang nilolon mo ay house and lot, hindi naman po namin sasabihin, hindi, lote ka lang. Hindi po gano'n.
I agree, yung capacity to pay mo for this amount lang. Okay, so
kumaring house and lot yan na 1.5, pero 1 million lang pwede kong ma-approve sa'yo. House and lot pa rin po yun. Hindi po namin babaguhin yung loan purpose.
Alright. So sir, ito pa, is it possible to transfer bank housing loan to Pag-ibig? I think that's possible. It's refinancing, right? Okay.
Pwede po yan. Pwede po yan.
So another requirements yan. You have to comply, no? I think...
same lang po yan. Wala pong iba. Pero nga lang po, naka-mortgage siya. Hanapan lang po namin siya ng isang additional document, yung statement of account niya sa bangko.
Okay,
kasi po naka-mortgage siya sa bangko eh. Ordinarily, dapat po walang lien or mortgage. Pero since naka-mortgage sa bangko, gusto mo lang i-transfer, hanapan lang kita ng statement of account mo sa bangko.
Parang clearance, no?
Opo. Hindi naman po clearance, lang, na pakita mo lang na you are updated sa payment mo sa bangko.
Okay. So I think we don't have so much time now. Let me go Thank you, gentlemen. Very very enlightening today. Salamat sa inyong presence. I think I'd like to turn over the floor to our president, Toti Carino, for your acknowledgement and recognition of these two gentlemen. President Toti.
Again, thank you very much for coming and addressing the developers and our guests. Again, it was really a worthwhile afternoon spending time with Shopsy and Pag-ibig. And Creba, your dependable partner in nation building, will always promote spirited discussions and suggestions on how best we can really achieve a home for every Filipino. Marami pong salamat and good luck to everyone.
Yes, thank you so much. We cannot award you the plaque of appreciation, but I'm sure our secretariat will send them to your offices. I hope someday we will have a physical meeting, sir. And we would like to, in the next administration, I'm sure nandyan pa po kayo, mga makikita pa namin kayo. Natawa sa
Hopefully, we will be calling on you soon, Attorney Kabling.
Yes, oo.
We will be calling on you
Opo.
personally.
So we will be seeing you in our physical meeting, which will be held soonest, sir. No, thank you so much, and have a good day to all who are here online. Thank you so much. We will see you in our next virtual or in-person meetings. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat.
Magandang hapon sa lahat.
Maraming salamat din po. Good afternoon po sa inyong lahat. Salamat din po.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Pag-ibig and SH Shipsy team.